Most limiting beliefs that we have are fears that of things that we want to do, but that we don't end up doing. I want to break down the root causes of limiting beliefs, how a confident woman operates, and how you can overcome limiting beliefs. The root problem of limiting beliefs is overall just thinking that you cannot achieve something grand. So thinking in a big picture, thinking that you can become a singer, a celebrity. That's why all these things are deemed as like things that are not realistic as a job. Becoming a content creator, these grand ideas are not achievable in your mind. You feel like you cannot reach that level of success. You don't achieve what you love when you do this. You achieve only what feels safe. You only achieve what you think is practical, what you can do at the moment. You don't feel like you can achieve something that is extraordinary. What that means is you don't take risk, and you also don't use the creative side of your brain because you're only thinking in practicality. You're thinking of like, what skills do I have now that I can use to monetize right now? And then that's where I'm going to keep it, and that's where I'm going to live my life for the next 40 years. And that's the mistake a lot of people do because they don't want to grow. They don't achieve something grand because they don't want to learn new skills to reach level 2, 3, 4, and 10. They want to do what's comfortable now and keep that normality going for the next, like I said, 40 years until they retire. And then they don't achieve what they love. How does a confident woman operate? Knowing that mentality, right? She operates by taking actionable steps with no guarantees. So what this means is she is not taking big leaps and expecting results. She is trying to move from level 1 to 2 with actionable steps, realistic steps that she can take and put into her schedule, and being successful with that because she took a small step and didn't take a huge leap and then failed and then didn't do anything else with that task. She is doing that with no guarantees. She's not expecting a reward. She's not expecting hand claps at the end when she reaches level 2. She's not expecting anything there because she knows that it's a long trajectory. And when she can do that with no guarantees of the outcome, that's what keeps her going. That's what keeps her going to level 10. And that's a big part of her confidence, is not knowing the outcome and being okay with that. She has built a strong relationship with herself. Through trial and error, she has been able to grow. She has been able to trust herself, know her limits, know that she can build anything through perseverance. By trying so many different things throughout her life, she's been able to cultivate that kind of mindset of like, I can achieve anything I want if I set my mind to it, because she's been able to achieve different things through that type of mindset. When you can accept from the start that if you achieve your goal, that's great, and if you don't, then that's okay too, then that's when you really see success, because you are working just for the sole purpose of doing the task and not for the sole purpose of what's waiting for you at the end of that door. And that is a whole different energy. That gives you the power to create things in this world that are solely made out of love, dedication, your pure enjoyment, and that is a beautiful thing. Another way that this woman operates that's very important is that she doesn't let other people's opinions dictate her life. So people are going to have a lot of opinions about what you're doing, okay? Even if you don't have opinions about what other people are doing, everybody is going to have an opinion about what you're doing, especially if you're doing something extraordinary and out of the norm. So people are going to question you. They're going to say things like, you can't do this, that's not achievable, that's not realistic. But what do they know? That's what I always say. What do they know? Okay. And I'm not saying I know more. It's just I know my capabilities and I know what I can achieve. And by my systems, I will achieve them. This failure to them is not that they tried and something turned out terrible. Failure to them is not trying in general. So let's say they wanted to become a content creator. They see this as like if they don't try to do it and if they don't try their best to do it, then they are failing themselves. And they have failed all their systems, they have failed all their beliefs, they have failed everything that they know because with this way of thinking, they have been able to achieve everything else. So even if this task takes longer, they know that they can achieve it through this way of thinking. We know how the confident woman operates. So how can we get you on track to overcoming these limiting beliefs? Start saying, why not me? This is a big one because when you start saying, why not me? It stops becoming such an extraordinary thing. You're like, okay, I see an influencer with 1 million followers and she has this beautiful house in Calabasas and she's showing off all the wonderful, lavish things in her life. And we feel like these people are out of reach, like out of touch. But when you can see that profile and say, why not me? And really believe it, that's when you're going to be like, oh, this is normal. This can be my normal if I take actionable steps towards that goal. We have to change that internal talk and become our biggest supporter. We cannot talk down to ourselves anymore. And what I mean by talk down to ourselves doesn't mean like speaking harshly to ourselves, but speaking with limiting beliefs. So saying things like, that's too hard for me to do, or that's something that I cannot do, or that's something that I need money for, or that's something that we need to take all that internal talk and turn it around. Because in this day and age, we have all the resources that we need to do what we want right now. And everything has become so simplified and so easy that there's absolutely no way that you cannot achieve what you want if you don't set the time and the dedication to it. It's the easiest time to have information and to do something with your life. So we need to change that internal talk, become our biggest supporters. And if we are setting a big task in our life, like becoming a baker and sending products through online, let's take the emotion out of the actions that we need to do. Because there's going to be a lot of days of the year where you're going to feel like you don't want to do what you have to do. And let me tell you that motivation is not going to come. The motivational videos, they're not going to help. What's going to help is taking the emotion out of the action that you need to do. And how do you do that? It is through a schedule. Like everything on this channel, I say the schedule is going to be your way to take out emotion from action. Because planning out ahead of time and putting it on a schedule with a time block is going to make it a non-negotiable for you. You're going to show up because you previously committed to showing up with yourself. And that is a trick that I've used for a long time that gets things done. That's taking the emotion out of the action. You're gonna do it no matter if it's raining, if you're sick, if you're tired. You're gonna push through and do the most you can on the days where you're tired or sick, and you're gonna get it done. Once you start tasks without any guarantees, you're going to start to have less limiting beliefs. Just putting in hard work and having that self-belief, using that positive self-talk is going to overturn all those limiting beliefs that you had before. If this video was insightful, let's talk more on my next video on how emotion ruins logic. I will see you there.